a curse, a curse, a curse. The Curse is the third single from my album Timescape. It's a dark, nautical folktale which likens falling in love to a curse. It's a bit of a cynical song. I wrote the song back in 2022 while I was visiting the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I had this melody stuck in my head and I was walking around singing the song into my phone, pretending like I was taking a phone call. This is the very, very first recording of the song. I'm trying to be really subtle. You can hear my footsteps. I wrote the melody and the broad lines of the song on cue cards while I was doing an early morning hike on a mountain in the middle of the city, and I always think of that view when I hear the song. Then in the evening, when I got back to the guest house where I was staying, I tried to figure out the chords on this roll-up piano that I had brought just in case I got musical inspiration, which was a good idea. When I got back to Montreal later that week, I messed around with the piano trying to archive all these ideas that I had and tried to figure out what the song was trying to be. Temp lyrics, different chords. Okay, that's enough. It feels much darker and less whimsical. I love keeping archives of all these different iterations of a song. Sometimes you work on something so long and you're so close to it. It's fun to go back to these early versions and you might notice little touches of magic that you lost along the way. When I write songs, it always feels like there's a film playing in my head. So for the lyric video, I wanted to illustrate the images that were so vivid to me. I was inspired by the style of children's storybook illustrations. I love drawing and I don't make enough time for it, so it's nice to have these little projects that push me in the back and make it feel like an obligation, because otherwise it never gets done. These were drawn with fine tip markers and watercolor. I am not a boat person, despite writing a song about one, so I found a 3D model of a boat online that I could use as reference because I don't know boats well enough to draw them from imagination. When the drawings were finalized and photographed, I animated these little magical smoky trails to try to breathe life into this curse. Post-production was a little bit of a mess. I had this 12,000 by 12,000 pixel timeline with all the high-res animated drawings side by side where the virtual camera could navigate between the different frames. The initial render time was 36 hours for a 5-minute song. It crashed after 10 hours because I accidentally unplugged a hard drive, which, good job. I found a way to optimize the timeline and reduce it to an hour-and-a-half render time, which is still long, but manageable. Otherwise, I think I'd still be rendering version 3 by now. I hope you like the final result. The Curse is available on all streaming platforms and on Bandcamp, and do take a listen to Timescape when it comes out February 28th. Thank you so much to people on Patreon for supporting me and making projects like this possible.